Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shot Clock. I'm your host, Cody Dertow. I've got a special treat for you all tonight, as Kurt Kamphausen is here to join me for a special interview and fantasy segment, and also shed some light on what he's been up to since you last saw him in the spring. That's a little later in the show, but right now, it's time to go around the clock. Earlier this week, Cardinals manager Tony La Russa retired after winning his third World Series title. Speculation was such that some thought La Russa's retirement could be coming soon, but many did not see this coming after St. Louis's run to a very improbable postseason. Nevertheless, he ends his career after 33 seasons with the White Sox, Athletics, and Cardinals, and is third on the all-time managerial wins list. He won his first series title with the A's back in 1989, and then two in St. Louis in 2006, and then again this season. Many suspect that La Russa will assume a position within Major League Baseball's front offices, much like Joe Torre did, but this is unclear. What is clear, however, is that the Cardinals now face the offseason questions of Albert Pujols without a steady clubhouse presence. Rumors swirl that the job could go to longtime third base coach Jose Oquendo, or the team may bring in ex-Red Sox manager Terry Francona. Cardinals executives may want to end the situation quickly because it could affect the market for this year's top free agents. But fans should feel more comfortable because St. Louis has already locked up Lance Berkman, Adam Wainwright, and Chris Carpenter for another season. And fans can expect that with that being the case, Pujols will probably return as well, making the new manager's job that much easier. The Yankees have re-signed CC Sabathia to a new contract after the large left-hander decided to not opt out of the original one he signed following the 2008 season. The 31-year-old, who has posted a 59-23 record and a 3.18 ERA with New York, agreed to a new deal that adds another season worth $30 million to his existing contract. He will receive $25 million in salary for 2016, with an option for the same amount in 2017, including a $5 million buyout. The extension makes Sabathia's contract worth $122 million over the next 5 years, and for those of you keeping tally at home, that equates to roughly $24.5 million a season. The Yankees will carefully watch the free agent market, looking to perhaps add a strong pitcher behind Sabathia and Ivan Nova, and could also be searching for a bat or two, after the injuries and age of stars such as Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter. Oh, and in case that's not enough for the Empire, they've also re-signed longtime GM Brian Cashman to a new 3-year deal. 22-year-old Rory McIlroy, women's tennis fan and tweeter extraordinaire, was named Golf Magazine's Player of the Year earlier this week after demolishing the U.S. Open in June following his performance at Quail Hollow towards the end of 2010. McIlroy, although stuck on 3 wins as a professional, has garnered comparisons to Tiger Woods and other golf greats during his short stay on the PGA Tour. After letting his membership expire during 2011, he has said the plan is to get back on the tour in 2012. He is no longer dating his school sweetheart from Ireland and plans on living in the States predominantly. The competition during McIlroy's absence has grown stiff over recent months, with the emergence of young talents like Rookie Fowler. And when the tour begins again in the spring, these phenoms could again take center stage. Golf Magazine senior writer Cameron Morford, in an online article published Wednesday, quipped that if McIlroy focuses and settles into his extra gear, he might leave everyone choking on his fumes. If so, he might be the one. And if it happens, it happens. My quip: the kid is 22 and dealing with his first real bit of celebrity. For those of us that are interested, we all just have to wait and see. Coming up, I'll have the latest on Red Wolf sports, including the performance of the soccer team at the Sun Belt Tournament. Stay tuned.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
The magical thing about using energy wisely is that anyone can do it. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off computers and game systems when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Grab a grown-up and go online to energy.gov/kids.
Hungry?
Yeah.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
It's the first weekend of November, and ASU is already bowl eligible. Following football's 37-14 victory over North Texas last Saturday, Hugh Freeze and company sit atop the Sun Belt at 6-2 overall and 4-0 in conference. They face an interesting slate the rest of the season, starting with this weekend's game in Boca Raton against FAU. While they should come home with a win, this could serve as a classic trap game, seeing as how the Red Wolves have never won at FAU. However, fans can feel better about that stat this season because the Owls were shut out at home by Western Kentucky and sit at the bottom of the Sun Belt at 0-7. Pending an ASU triumph, the November 12th home date with Louisiana Lafayette should be the de facto Sun Belt title game. Make plans to attend Northeast Arkansas because it's sure to be one hell of a game. And be sure to tune in next week when I break down that matchup. ASU soccer is back in the Sun Belt tournament after finishing the regular season with 5 conference wins and drew number 2 overall seed FIU in the first game. After wrapping up the season with a 4-0 shutout of rival UALR at home this past week, the Red Wolves made their first tournament appearance since 2009. However, chance did not favor ASU on Wednesday morning, as FIU jumped out to a 2-0 lead early and advanced to the second round. Coach Tafazwa Zayenge said that after the game, he was pleased with his team's performance this season, although the Red Wolves did finish the year at 7-10-3 overall. And although the season did not culminate in a title, the girls did impress on the field. Senior forward Kara Nitty will end her career in second place on ASU's all-time individual goals list, and the team scored its second most goals in the season with 34, while marking its second highest point total mark with 98. Fans can now turn their attention from one season ending to another that's just tipping off. Women's basketball opened their season Tuesday night with a 78-73 exhibition win against Maryville University. Sophomore Jane Morrill led ASU with 20 points and 9 rebounds and keyed the victory for the Red Wolves in the game where they trailed into the final 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Morrill was fouled on a play at the basket and hit from the line to spark a 9-0 run that sealed the game. ASU shot 41% from the field and hit 7 3-pointers, outproducing Maryville in both categories. Quenisha McDowell and Ashley Olvera had 14 points each, while junior Megan Lewis scored 12. And 78 points is a great indicator of what this year's team is capable of, as last year's squad had trouble scoring at times. I believe if Coach Brian Boyer can shore up the defense, then one exciting women's basketball season is in store. You can catch the final exhibition game Monday night at 7 at the Convo, and the regular season home opener against Texas A&M Corpus Christi on November 20th. Don't go anywhere because after the break, ASU TV's own Kurt Kamphausen joins me for the remainder of the show. Just be sure to keep the excitement loud enough for the neighbors to hear.
For you.
Hey, Mom.
You know, girls, I used to cheer back in my day. Ready? Okay! Go team!
That was amazing, amazing, amazing. Mom, that was amazing.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
He scores! We're going into overtime. I'll tell you, Duncan has been great in the clutch all. It's anybody's game at this point. This could be an MVP season.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Nice. No! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Works every time. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
It's always wildfire season somewhere in America. Nearly 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by the carelessness of humans and could be prevented. But together, we can make a difference.
Watch what I can do.
Help protect the home of our forest friends.
Come on, you can do it.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
To find out more, log on to SmokeyBear.com.
Welcome back, Jonesboro. With me tonight is ASU TV sports producer, my former co-host, and longtime friend, Kurt Kamphausen. Kurt, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me tonight.
Oh, not a problem.
Glad to see you. You know, Kurt, you and I, we were on the show last year, the Red Wolf Roundtable, and I reprise the role now, but you've moved on to bigger and better things, arguably, helping Mr. Pillow with the sports producing, with the football and the basketball. Can you tell me and tell everybody at home about that? What are your duties? You know, what exactly do you have to do to make those game broadcasts that everybody can catch right here on ASU TV possible?
Well, you know, I'm doing a lot of filming for ASU TV, and like you said, Colin Pello in charge of that, and Joetta Porcher, also one of our ASU TV co-workers, a sports producer with me. And basically, we get to travel with the football team and enjoy the same things the football team enjoys. Get to stay in the same hotels, eat at some nice restaurants, which are some of the perks of the job. But come game day, we're on the field, we're filming. And at the end of the day, we come back into town. And obviously this week, we're flying out to Florida Atlantic this weekend. And so we're going to come back. We're going to put the whole game together. And it's going to air Sunday night, Tuesday night is when the games re-air on ASU TV. But also, we're in charge of doing the coaches show. So after the game, Coach Hugh Freeze and Brad Bobo, who is also the women's basketball commentator, he will interview Coach Hugh Freeze after every game, ask him about the certain statistics from the game. And so far, with a 5-game winning streak, the past 5 coaches shows have been a pleasure to do because we've had one happy coach with us.
I bet.
And when we come back, we put the coaches show together, and then we air that during the week as well.
Well, you know, that's a lot to do from a Friday afternoon to a Saturday late night.
It keeps us busy.
And my understanding is you guys edit the whole game and all the footage on Sunday basically all day. Is that correct?
That's correct. We come in there, and some of us come in early in the morning, others come in late, earlier afternoon to do it. But we're there for several hours putting it all together, and we hope it comes out well for everyone to see. But it's hard sometimes to sync. Matt Stoltz, the voice of the Red Wolves, kind of hard putting his voice together with the play that's going on. But it's fun to do, and like I said, with the Red Wolves winning, there's nothing better to be doing.
All right. Well, you know, how many hours, really? Because you take a football game, and you're talking 2 to 3 hours on average, probably. How many hours does it take for you guys to put that together on Sunday?
On Sunday, I would say, you know, sometimes some of us come in around 9, I'd say 9 to 10 in the morning is our average. We're usually there till about 5. And Mr. Pella does a lot of that. He comes in early to make sure the stuff is ready to go. But it takes several hours. And I should also mention, me and Joetta do weekly packages on a lot of the seniors. So we've done Dorvis Woods. We just interviewed Nigel Bird today and Coach Tom Allen for the package we're doing on him. So we're doing a lot of these seniors. And in the coaches show, we put in the packages of these players. And so that we get a head start on that since we usually interview on Thursdays. And so by the time Sunday rolls around, we have a lot of that done. But it takes several hours. I mean, we're there most of Sunday working, but like I said, it's fun and I enjoy it. We watch some NFL football as well on the TV, so time goes by.
Have to stay entertained when you're working hard.
That's right.
I know the fans at home really appreciate those games that you guys can catch here on ASUTV Channel 18. Quickly, Kurt, while we still have time, you mentioned the 5-game win streak. And I mentioned in the previous segment, 6-2 overall, probably a de facto Sun Belt title game next weekend. Quickly, give me your take on the team. What's the single most impressive thing to you so far this season?
I would say the improvement of the defense. And this has already been mentioned several times, I'm sure, in main newspapers online at the Red Bulls website. They're ranked 23rd in scoring defense, only allowing 19 points per game. That's better than Arkansas. That's better than Nebraska. That's better than Oregon. So 3 top 10 teams, or top 15, I should say, teams that they're better in scoring defense. Granted, they're in the Sun Belt Conference. I can understand those arguments. Nevertheless, the fact remains they're shutting people out, especially their front four and their linebackers and guys like Kelsey McRae and guys like Sterling Young in the secondary.
Interception machine.
Yeah, and Kelsey had another great interception against North Texas. This defensive unit is stronger than I've ever seen it before, and it's showing. I mean, they are top Sun Belt in just about every defensive category, and they have some great individual players like Brandon Joyner, Dorvis Woods, and Kelsey McRae as well.
All right, and I know fans, and I can see it from the press box working with sports information on Saturdays here, that fire has been lit underneath that defense, ladies and gentlemen. But Kurt, thanks for that insight there, and stick around because you got another segment to do with me. But when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Kurt and I are going to shake up the fantasy segment with our sleepers of the week.
Cotton balls, duct tape, spoon, needle, thread, scalpel.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I'm your classmate.
I'm your neighbor.
I'm your friend.
We're your inspiration.
Find a special place in your heart. Become a fan. Support Special Olympics. For more information, visit www.specialolympicsarkansas.org.
Rosita, did you know there's a right way to sneeze? Let's show them, Elmo. Yeah, got it. When you feel like your nose needs to give an achoo, this is how you act. This is what you do. Lift your arm up high, bend it toward your face. Sneeze right there in the bendy place. Achoo, achoo. You can do it with ease. Achoo, achoo. That's the right way to sneeze. Thank you.
To learn more about preventing flu, visit flu.gov.
We are different. Society should aspire to be more like us.
Be part of the first class. Get energized. Get outside.
Hold on, guys. It's gonna get bumpy.
And get moving. Experience the power of physical activity. Join the movement at ActionHeroAlliance.com.
This week, Kurt and I are breaking down the sleepers of the fantasy world, along with giving you our upset specials of the week. But don't worry. As usual, we've got the top players at each position, too. All right, Kurt, now that that's out of the way, go ahead and let them have your sleepers.
All right, my sleeper, my quarterback, Andy Dalton of the Cincinnati Bengals. This rookie out of TCU. A lot of people think rookie quarterback, they think Cam Newton. And while Cam has had success as far as statistics go, he hasn't produced the wins, and Andy has produced the wins. The Cincinnati Bengals are sitting at 5-2. Dalton has 9 touchdowns on the season, only 7 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 82.7, passing for almost 1,500 yards and 62%. They're playing Tennessee this coming week. Tennessee, a mediocre team. I see Andy Dalton having a great game as he has all season. And also my defense, as you see there, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're ranked 2nd in total defense, only allowing 270 yards per game, and they're ranked 1st in passing defense, allowing 171 yards per game. And coming up against the Baltimore Ravens, a big grinded-out game of the year that everyone looks forward to. Shutting down Joe Flacco is essential, as we saw what Flacco did against Arizona this past week. Not throwing any touchdowns, but still throwing it for a lot of yards, and that big pass to Bolden at the end to set up the field goal, a huge pass.
Definitely.
So I see Pittsburgh and Andy Dalton this week putting up some big points for fantasy viewers.
Well, and, you know, those are sleepers because Andy Dalton, I mean, he's owned in a lot of leagues, but he's a backup.
And he's a rookie
as well. Exactly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my fantasy sleepers, when we talk about quarterbacks, some of you might laugh, but I'm going to pick Jay Cutler, and I'll tell you why. Because this week against Philly, you know, it's a Monday night game. He had a bye week to prepare. Plus, Philly's only great defensive game was last week against Dallas. And I just think that, you know, he's a mediocre quarterback most of the time, but every now and then he's due for a big game, and I think Monday night might be his big game. Also, look for Chiefs running back Jackie Battle to continue his rise to prominence, as he's been over 75 yards for 3 straight games, adding a couple touchdowns along the way as well. And for my sleeper pick on defense, I like those Patriots. They're matching up with turnover-prone Eli Manning. New England did give up 365 yards to Ben Roethlisberger, but still only lost 25-17 last week. And Kurt, I think that just maybe Bill Belichick's going to light a fire under that respective defense.
I couldn't agree more.
Right? All right, guys. So now we told you we'd have the top 5 players for you, and here we go. At quarterback, we've got Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Schaub, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Kurt, what do you think about that select group? You and I kind of got together on this list.
I certainly like Aaron Rodgers. The guy's putting up monster numbers, 20 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 125.7. Packers sitting at 6-0. He's thrown for over 70% completion percentage. There's no reason why you shouldn't have this guy on your fantasy team.
I agree, and you know, Rodgers' play is a good indication of why a lot of people think the Packers could go undefeated this season. At running back, we've got LaShawn McCoy against Chicago, Fred Jackson against the Jets, Steven Jackson against Arizona, Matt Forte playing in that Monday nighter at Philadelphia, and Frank Gore, who's been a great steady presence with his 100-yard rushing games for the 49ers, matching up against the Redskins. Kurt, I don't know about you, but LaShawn McCoy and Fred Jackson are the big names of that group for me of their performance late. McCoy with his touchdowns, Jackson with his superb all-around game right now.
And Jackson underestimated even by his own wife, as we've seen in some reports coming out.
That's true. I mean, the man is 30. Cut him some slack, you know. But, you know, your pick was Steven Jackson, and he had a great game last week. But why do you think against the Arizona defense, which has a leaky secondary, but not a front seven, why do you think that's such a prominent, you know, fantasy?
I just see the Arizona Cardinals, they just came apart against Baltimore. And what I saw against the Baltimore Ravens at the end of the game, there's no reason why I can't think Steven Jackson, with a great game he had last week against the New Orleans Saints, who are notorious, granted, for having a mediocre defense and a great offense. I just see Steven Jackson with that confidence and the confidence of St. Louis Rams offensive line. I see him coming into Arizona and playing very well against them.
Strong enough argument, and if the Rams want to win, they'll need him because it's unsure as to whether or not quarterback Sam Bradford will be returning this week from his high ankle sprain. To continue on with our fantasy list, now we're going to look at the wide receivers and tight ends. And I don't know about you, Kurt, but this week we've got the Atlanta Falcons going and matching up with the Indianapolis Colts, the poor hapless souls they are at the moment. And, you know, Matt Ryan has yet to have a big game this year, in my opinion. You know, in that game against Philadelphia, he played okay, but it was really the defense there at the end that caused him to win. And your pick was great, Jennings. You know, I've got Brandon Lloyd on there, Stevie Johnson, and then you also tagged A.J. Green. So I'm going to ask you, between Green, White, and Jennings, who has the strongest game Sunday?
I think Jennings for sure, because he is quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And while all of them have pretty good quarterbacks, you know, Green with Dalton, I just think Jennings with Aaron Rodgers who's had such a strong year. He had a great season last season, already off to a good start this year, along with his own tight end, Jermichael Finley, which we'll get to in a second. I think Jennings has the strongest game out of those three.
That's a good argument. And it remains to be seen if Aaron Rodgers continues that hot hand of his. Very could hold well to be true. In the tight ends segment, we've got Jimmy Graham. What more can you say about him and his performance so far for the Saints? He's at home against Tampa Bay. Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady's arguably favorite target, at least tied with Wes Welker. They've got a very interesting matchup this week against the Giants. We've got Fred Davis, the Johnny-come-lately of tight ends for Washington against the Niners. Jason Witten, he's there every week, as well as Tony Gonzalez. Again, that Falcons-Colts matchup could be a start-all game for Falcons. And personally, I think that Jason Witten might have a 100-yard touchdown game this week. I mean, the Seattle defense, they held Cleveland to 6 points, but that's Cleveland. And Cleveland's been without Peyton Hillis, and Colt McCoy is not, at least at this point, developing the way a lot of us thought he would. And so, Kurt, out of that tight end group, give me your top performer. I mean, who is really going to just knock down that defensive wall this weekend?
I think it's between Jimmy Graham and Jason Witten. Jimmy Graham already has over 700 yards receiving this year. He's averaging 89 receiving yards per game. Along with that, he has 5 touchdowns. And for tight ends, halfway through the season, that's quite impressive. Jason Witten coming off 2 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He's on par for that this year as well. And I think he's going to be a big part against Seattle. And I think Jimmy Graham against Tampa Bay, who in recent weeks has been struggling mightily, I think Jimmy and Jason are the 2 top performers for tight ends this week.
I think that's a good argument there, too. Kurt mentioned the touchdowns for Jimmy Graham there. He's second among tight ends. Guess who? Scott Chandler of the Bills. If he's still on your waiver wire, you might want to pick him up. I did, just because simply he's the first option when the Bills get in the red zone. For passing, that is,
All right. Still, for a tight end, that's pretty impressive.
Hey, 6 touchdowns, that's a lot. Okay, now we go to the players in your fantasy teams that maybe not always have the best days for you, but could, I want to stress the word could, win your matchups. The kickers and defense, obviously, is what we're talking about here. And for me, the defenses, Dallas against Seattle and Houston against Cleveland, I think that's 2 very strong matchups for those home Texas teams there. San Francisco against Washington. San Francisco is one of the most underrated defenses and perhaps arguably the best defense in the league. Atlanta at the Colts, and then Kansas City, which was your pick, Kurt, at home against the Dolphins. Explain that for me a little bit.
Oh, the poor Dolphins, they have yet to win a game as well, those poor guys. Offensively, they've just had struggles at the quarterback position. Even Brandon Marshall has not had a very good season thus far. And the Chiefs, 2 weeks ago, blew out the Raiders and held the Chargers, forced Philip Rivers into that late fumble, which helped them win against the Chargers. So their defense is on a roll.
Yeah, strong, and we'll see if it holds true. Kansas City could use a win to walk themselves into being alone in first place in the AFC West. Quickly now, we'll give you the kickers for the week. Matt Bryan at the Colts, Neil Rackers at home against the Browns, David Akers against the Redskins, Robbie Gould against the Eagles, and finally Stephen Gostkowski against the New York Giants. And hopefully all those guys, I think anyway, stand a real good chance in scoring in double figures. But hopefully those picks will win the weekend for you. I want to thank Kurt for coming in tonight. Man, it's been a lot of fun.
It's been great. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And for those of you at home, come check out the ASU TV webpage. We've uploaded tons of episodes from this season, so be sure to check out any episodes of Shot Clock you may have missed or any other ASU TV programming at our website at www.asutv.com. For all of us here at ASU TV, I'm Cody Dertow, and thanks for spending your evening with us.